Hi, I'm Bob Ross, and I'm glad you're with me today. So today, let's do a fantastic little seascape. Tell you what, let's start out and have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint this little picture at home. And while they're doing that, tell you what, come on up here, let me tell you what I've already done. I've got my standard old canvas up here, and I've painted the entire canvas with black gesso. I allowed that to dry, and then I've came up here and I've sort of added some colors. I've put a little bit of alizarin crimson mixed with black and a touch of phthalo blue up in the sky area. And down here in the bottom, I put some phthalo green, phthalo blue, and black. And just covered the whole canvas with a nice, thin, even coat of those colors. Those colors are transparent, so when you put them against a black background, it still looks black. And onto that, we're going to add different colors, and fantastic things will happen. I think you'll enjoy it. So I tell you what, let's get started and do it. Let's start off today with a small amount of titanium white, and I'm using the little 1-inch brush. And I'll tell you what, let's make a happy little sky up here. And let's just take the brush, and since there's color already on the canvas here, all you have to do is just sort of touch. All I'm doing is just sort of touching and putting in all kinds of just happy little shapes. Just like so. We'll just let that go right on off. There we go. See there? All you have to do is tap. It's very, very easy. And once again, because there's color underneath, you'll pick up that color and just fantastic things will happen. Or you can just rub it a little, just like so. Just scrub a little of the white on there, then all these things begin happening. There. See? Just whatever you want. Maybe over here, let's do another one of those. These are going to turn out to be big fluffy clouds. But all we're doing right now is just tapping in a very loose base shape. Just a base shape, basic shape, whatever you want to call it. We're not looking for detail at this point. We're going to come back and begin worrying about detail. Right now, all we're doing is adding some color onto the canvas. Okay, now then, let's take a good dry 2-inch brush. Be sure it's dry. And very lightly, we'll just begin brushing here. Just brush. And I'm going to brush the base of this out, but I'm not going to touch the top yet. Just blend it out. Let it blend right into that color that's on the canvas. Isn't that fantastic? There. These black canvases are one of my absolute favorites. Now, very lightly, just lift that. Lift it and blend it. There we go. Just bring it all together. Lift it and sort of pull it up that way. I'm doing that real slow so you can see. Just pull it. And it makes one of the most fantastic little skies. And it's so very easy. There we go. Just like so. Now right across the center here, I have a piece of masking tape. I just want to keep the horizon lines nice and straight on this seascape. So that's just plain old masking tape put across there. We can take a fan brush with a little bit of white on it, and maybe we want to go back here and just add in some little things here and there. All you do is just lay in some basic shapes wherever you want them. Wherever you want them. And go back to your large brush and blend them. And you can blend them to any degree of darkness that you want. The more you blend this, the darker it's going to become, because it's going to pick up the color that's on the canvas, the base color underneath. And you can just keep on till you blend it all the way if you want to. But hopefully we won't go that far with it. Now then, let's pull the masking tape off and we'll have a nice straight horizon. See there? That masking tape really does keep your horizon just as straight as it can be. I hope you can see that. I know it's difficult on that black canvas with a black background. Now then, where the tape was, I'm going to add a little bit of black and phthalo blue just right in there where the tape was, because there was no color there. Being careful to keep that horizon line nice and straight. Nice and straight. Okay. Now then, time to make some big decisions. One of the things that I like to do when doing seascapes is determine right from the beginning where my major wave's going to be. And then it seems to work easier if you know where that wave's going to be and you work around it. So I'll just use the little filbert brush here, put a little white on it. And let's make a big decision. Maybe our major wave will be right about here. And it'll come right about here and go out. And it's going to come up a little bit and then sort of break over right in this area. And maybe there will be the big break. And that's really all you need. That tells you where you can work and where you can't. More important is where you can't work. Good. Now then we'll dry off our little filbert and we can have some fun. Let me get a fan brush here. Maybe back here in the distance, let's mix up. We'll use some black, a little touch of blue, a little touch of phthalo green. Throw some Van Dyke brown in there too, just to dull it down. And just mix them on the brush. No big deal. Maybe back in here, far, far away, there's some distant little trees live. So I'm just going to take the brush and I'm barely touching the canvas. I want these to be quite light in value. These are far away. I don't want them too distinct. I want them just to be back here in the mist. Just in the mist. They're just hiding back here in the background somewhere. There. See? You can see them, but they're not real distinct. Now, closer up on this, there'll be a few trees that are much more distinct. I have a few little evergreens sitting out here. There we go. There them little rascals are. And you just put as many as you want in your seascape, or as few. Maybe you don't want evergreens in yours. Maybe you want to have some old trees that hang over and lean, and that's all right. Anything that you want. I just want to show you how to do this, and then you decide how you want to do it. There. Okay, we use that same color. And let's put in maybe a little footland back here. Just a little rock the rocky area that projects out into the water. There we go. See, and all we're using here is just that same old dark color. There. Now brush strokes at this point become very important. You can lay this completely out using nothing but brush strokes. Normally I put no color there, just the dark, but no highlights on it. Just the dark color, and let the brush strokes put the indication of all kinds of little things in there. You can even lift up. Now, even if this doesn't show on your TV, when you do your painting, it will certainly show. You can see all kinds of rocks and stones, and it's unreal what can go on back in here. Now, if you want, you can add the least little touch of white to your brush. Maybe that'll, there, you can see that better. As I say, I normally wouldn't do this. I just want you to be able to see it. But just with brush strokes, you can create all kinds of happy little things back here. Just wherever you want them. There we go. Okay. All right, now we can come in here and start playing. Let me find another fan brush. I have several fan brushes going, so I don't have to spend all my time cleaning brushes. And we'll take just straight old titanium white. Straight old white. Load the brush, both sides. And let's go up here and let's make a decision here. Here's our horizon. So let's just start putting little, and I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going whoop, 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 okay? Got to make that noise too. But just small back in there. Just think of little waves. Little waves splashing way back in there. And leave some dark areas. Don't cover up all these. Sometimes it gets to be fun and you can't stop. There you go. Just work it out. See, and already that begins giving the indication of water. And it's picking up that color that's on the canvas, and all these little things just happen automatically. You don't even have to worry about them. Now maybe, let's come right in here, and here's a big major wave. It comes right along in there and lives, and goes right on through. And this wave, we said, came right along here, like that, and then it's going to come right over. Boom. Once again, it helps to make those little noises. Of course, people look at you a little funny, but that's all right. There. Now then, let me wipe my fan brush off. Just remove the excess paint. And now then, all I want to do, well, watch, it's easier to show you. Here, where you put this paint, begin blending it back, but you're still making a little stroke like that. Okay? Hope all that makes sense. There. See, what's important is not this line that you made here, but in between. That becomes the trough, or the area between the waves. And just by pulling that little bit of paint back in that stroke, automatically you can create that illusion. Automatically. There we go. Just very gently. Now if it begins getting too bright, just clean your brush off. Just wipe your brush off good. Okay, then a little bit here. Takes very little paint on these black canvases. I think they're one of the most fantastic things that there are. I love these black canvases. Some of the effects are unreal. There. Now then, you make a decision here where this little footling sticks out in here. You just take your paint and cut it off. There we go. Now then, shoot, we about got that rascal looking good. But you see how easy it is to make this whole background with just a fan brush and a few happy little strokes. Okay, let's get on down here and start playing. I'm going to take some titanium white and the least little touch of cad yellow. Least little touch of cadmium yellow. This may still look white on your set, but there's a little yellow in here. Don't get too much. All right, now then, right in here, the eye of the wave or the transparency. Take a filbert and scrub it firmly. Just scrub it in. There you go. Now begin thinking about the shape of this wave. And we'll work back, getting darker, until it just disappears. Okay, now you can do this as many times as you want to achieve any degree of lightness in this eye of the wave that you want. Some people call it an eye of the wave, some people call it a transparency, whichever. See, if you want to do it again, the big thing is to start with a clean brush. Be sure your brush is clean. You always want that fresh, clean paint right there in that transparency. Load the brush full, go back, and start again. Always start in the light area and work outward. See, there. And think about shape. Begin thinking about the shape. See, this wave's coming up and curling over here. So there's shapes like this. Let me just do it in this so you can see it. There. Darker, till it just disappears right on out to nothing. There. And sometimes when I'm doing these, maybe I'll do that 3-4 times. Whatever it takes to get it as bright and as light as I want it. And when you're doing yours, just take a look at it. Make a big decision and do it. Now, use a 2-inch brush and very delicate, gentle touch. I hope you can see that. Just sort of using just the top corner of the brush. All you're doing is just mixing it up. Don't make big old strokes. The brush is hardly moving. You're just barely caressing the canvas, just enough to blend this together. And you can make it as smooth as silk. Just very gently and let it blend right on out. See there? Look at that. I used to go crazy trying to do seascapes. This is such a super nice, easy way to do it. Look at that water. Look at that. There. And just blend it as you go. And you can grab it and begin pulling it. You can begin thinking of the shape of the wave here as it moves and turns. And there. And I beat the brush just to remove excess paint. Now then, let me find a fan brush that's clean. Let's start making the crasher here. For that, I'll go right into titanium white. plain old titanium white. Because once again, when we get up here and begin working, it's going to pick up the color that's underneath. Now maybe this wave comes over and says, phew. Have to make those little sounds. Think about the water. Think about the water. Water's moving. It's having a good time out here. There we go. And it's just splashing and churning. Oh, there. And it's crashing over here. Boom. Okay. We're going to wash that old fan brush. And we just wipe it on a paper towel. Okay, now then. Now comes the fun part. Grab the old filbert brush. I like to put the foam on there. For that, we'll take a little white and a little bit of this color we used. This is blue with the least little touch of crimson in it, so it's sort of a lavender color. There we go. Just load the brush full. And we're going to put the shadow in the foam first. Then we'll come back and put the highlights on it. So start right up here and just sort of give the brush a little wiggle. Little tiny circles. Now sometimes there's no foam right here. That's up to you. I like to put some foam there because it just looks good to me. Tiny little circles, and we're just scrubbing that in. And think about where this would churn and hit and splash and come back up over itself. And just throw it all in. See there? There. Isn't that fantastic? That easy. Now, dry our brush. Be sure it's good and dry. If it's not good and dry, it's going to thin your paint and cause you agony. And agony hurts. There we go. We'll load this up with white. Load it full of color. A lot of color. See, both sides of the brush are very full. Okay. Now then, hold the brush sort of like this. See, it's sort of sidewards. And touch, and just give it a little upward push right on top of that. See, it's on top of that shadow. Push. It's hard to do it slow. That's all you're doing, is just giving a little upward push. See that? That way that bright part's right out on the edge. And wipe your brush continually. Look at this big splash up here where it's hitting. Whew. Okay, now don't kill all your shadow. It's very easy. You get carried away sometime and you can kill all that shadow. And you need that dark part underneath there, or it just won't look right. Now then, I wiped off the brush, and I'm just going to sort of blend that together. So there's no harsh lines where these two come together. Just sort of blend it together. There you go. There you go. Now you could do it with a clean, dry 2-inch brush. And all we're using is just that very top corner. Just the top corner. Just the top corner. And we want to stir this up a little bit. See, we're not making big strokes. The brush hardly moves. You can blend this till it's just, it's just smooth as glass. And you may have to do it once or twice to get the feel of it, but it'll work for you. People would never believe you used a 2-inch brush to make such delicate, beautiful little foam. And you can take a little of that and put on the outside, just touch out here so it looks like little things sparkling in the air. Little millions of little water droplets going all up. There. Okay. Now one thing that'll help separate this wave, I'm going to take a little bit of paint thinner on my liner brush and just go into some dark color. Just a little bit of paint on the liner brush. Now, we need something here to separate. So just take the liner brush and just come right around, and it'll cause these two areas to separate. And really make that son of a gun stand up there. Then you can take a dry brush and just blend that out till you can't even see it. There you go. Now then, now we can start having some fun. Now we need some foam in here. For that, I'll just use a fan brush. You can use the filbert or the fan or the liner whatever you happen to have handy. This has already got white on it. So begin thinking about the way the wave is coming up and turning over. Back here, it's still quite flat, but in here it has turned all the way over. So just use the brush and begin creating that illusion. This is where you form and shape your wave, just with this foam here. And begin making all these little things that just play right along here. There. And we'll come back and put detail in. All we're doing now is just putting in some basic shapes. There we go. Wherever you want them to go. Wherever you want them to go. See there? But don't kill all your dark areas. As I say, this begins working and it's so much fun. Next thing you know, you've killed every bit of dark area that you had. I do that all the time. So if it happens to you, you're certainly not alone. You've got a lot of company. There we go. Okay. Now you can sort of blend that up a little if you want. Now then, find my liner brush. Let's begin putting some nice highlights in there. For that, we'll just use paint thinner and a little bit of titanium white with the least little bit of phthalo blue in it. Now then, just come in here and you can begin adding all kinds of little delicate things. These are the things here that really make your painting stand out, all these little details. And once you get a little dark on there, didn't get enough dark yet. We'll get some here in a second. There. There we go. Think about where light's shining through here. And spend some time really, you want these to sparkle. And if these are going to be in the bright light, you can take a little pure white, even maybe with a little touch of yellow in it, and just begin working these. Right where you want the light area to be, though. If you use too much of this, it won't be effective. Just where you want the brightest areas. So this sort of leads you right up into that. Okay, and maybe right along in here. Begin putting in all kinds of little things. Back in here. All these little details, that's what makes your painting really stand out and makes it special. See, you can come from back here and put all kinds of little, let them follow the basic shapes though. There we go. Look at that. Did you ever think you could do that kind of seascape that quick? You can. You really can. See, little things just playing down. All these little lines that just play in the waves and have fun. And the more of those you put in, the more detail you'll have, the better your painting will look. There we go. That's something. I thought you'd like this one today. And back in here. There we go. See, you can see little things back in the wave. And sometimes these are on the other side of the wave and you can just see them through the wave. But there's absolutely no limit to what you can do. You're limited only by your imagination. There. And imagination is like everything else, like every other muscle in your body. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Begin practicing composing scenes in your mind. And very soon, you'll be able just to make up thousands of little scenes in your mind. That's when it really gets to be fun. And let's go way up in here. And we'll put all kinds of little things back in here. There we go. Okay. See all those little rascals? And they all add detail and make your painting so special. There. Okay, I have a few back in here. And if you ever get one that's a little too bright, just work with it. It'll go away. Tell you what, let's have a little stone in the front here. You know me, I always like to have little stones. I'll use the small knife, Van Dyke Brown, little dark sienna in it. And let's go, maybe our little stone lives. Sure does now, right there. There's just a happy little stone. Okay, we'll take a little dark sienna, at least a little touch of white in it. I want this to be quite dark. I don't want it to be too distracting right up here in the front. Quite dark. Our little roll of paint right on the edge of the knife. Okay. And all we're doing here is just bumping, just barely touching. Just want a little bit of light on that stone. Then we can take our liner brush and just very gently bring a little bit of water right up around the edges here, like so. See there? And let that little rascal just fit right in there. Now, let's have some fun. I didn't tell you quite everything. There's a piece of contact paper on here, and I want to pull that off and let you see what's underneath. All I did was put the contact paper on, then I painted the canvas black. Now when we take that off, look at what you have. Isn't that one of the most fantastic little seascapes that you ever seen? I thought you'd like that. That is so super. Then we can just spend our remaining time today just putting in some details like so and signing the painting. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. I also hope you'll give it a try because you'll find it unbelievably rewarding. It's one of the most fantastic ways to do a seascape that I've ever seen. And with that, we'll call that one finished. From all of us here, happy painting and God bless.